Hello, my name is Sean Aiden, and I am the president of the NC Alpha chapter here at NC State University. And I'm here to talk to you about how to run a chapter online and all the things that I've learned, we've done this semester specifically, and our plans for the future going forward. First thing is, what were our goals? And our goals as a chapter were to try and create as much normal procedural stuff, because there's a lot of tradition that comes in that comes with Tau Pi, and trying to still maintain a lot of those similar things. Whether it was on campus, whatever we could be able to, we didn't know the exact situation would be in the fall, or just make sure we can find a adequate virtual option. Our second thing was to try and find good, engaging ways, good ways to engage our members, whether it was through social events or through speakers. We're ramping up, reaching out to faculty alumni here at NC State to come in and talk about research. Our last general body meeting, we had two of our advisors come in and speak, and that was a lot of fun. And then we're continually trying to find ways, social events. NC State has closed down like university housing. There's no more in-person classes. So we're definitely trying to be a fun outlet for people to come have fun social events. Now people are still busy, classes are still going on, but we're trying to have fun ways to have people build up their network amongst other fellow engineers. And the second thing, the last thing, and the biggest of all of them, would be to increase our membership. For a large engineering department, we have smaller numbers, and our main goal was to try and find a way to get our name out there and increase membership through outreach events and trying to host events or get our name out there so that people understand who we are, and when they get invitations, they're more inclined to join. And that has been, I think, the largest message that I have now, and then we'll be going through that all of me and the rest of the officer team are going forward into the spring. But that was one of the goals for the semester, and then we're gonna just kind of go from there. Now, obviously, the ultimate challenge we have here is COVID. That has forced almost all of our normal things that we have held in person, chapter meetings, social events, certain service events that we would have gone to in our area, all are pretty much in a disarray because of COVID-19 and our social distancing rules. And it's hard to force anybody to, there are social distancing rules. There are ways you can do stuff in person, but as a chapter, as officer team, we didn't really feel like it was fair to force anybody to be put into a situation they didn't feel comfortable in. And so we definitely had a plan on if to basically minimize as much of the normal in-person stuff as possible. Chapter meetings are online, social events are online, but the only thing that could possibly be in person would be a safe drop-off of any materials that we receive, such as bents. There are definitely members from last semester that have been initiated that do not have their bents from last year, certificates, pins, that kind of stuff is about the only thing. But with everyone being sent home, it's definitely still also really hard to do that. Now, the first thing we've learned through being online is you got to have a way of communication. I think everyone can attest to this through just their own classwork, but we have, in a way to try and to ramp up stuff, is we normally were sending a lot of things through email, and that still is a main form of communication, but we decided to back it up with two easier ones so that we're not constantly reminders aren't being sent in email. You're receiving a lot of emails from your classes about lectures, about homework, about assignments. Your email box is just going to be going off the hook with all of this going on. So we backed it up with Slack. I've been in it with one of my other clubs. I thought it was a great way of doing it. I know that there's also Discord. It was kind of just a gut decision on going with Slack. They're both valid choices, and I think that if someone else is looking for other ways to back up things, Discord is also a valid option. I'm also on several Discord servers, so I see both their advantages and disadvantages, but the one we chose was Slack. Email is still the main form because not everyone has joined our Slack, though we've tried very hard to get everyone to join our Slack. But the email is still the main source. I mean, when we send out large reminders, like large updates of events, when we're sending out new information, it is mainly through email. Slack is basically there to try and build a community amongst other members. Reminders are sent out through Slack to make it so it's more like a messaging. And then the officer team we have a separate channel in Slack that makes it easy for us to communicate. And then secondly, we have social media. We're trying to use that more as a reminder, fun ways to, if you're following us, you're looking at your Instagram story for the day, you're reminded we have a trivia night tonight. That's kind of the idea behind our social media. And also, we're going to try and highlight just highlight fun stuff that we do. All right, the next thing is meetings. Meetings have been transitioned all online. Because of COVID-19, we've been advised by the school that any regular meetings should be held virtually, and that is what we've done. Now, I think that it kind of worked into our favor because usually where we met is on Centennial campus, which is a separate place. So it's definitely some people, if you are really busy one night, it's hard for you to get on a bus, drive out. That takes about 15 minutes to get there, an hour-long meeting, 15 minutes back. It's an inconvenience. You're losing a lot of time to stuff. Now, virtual meetings, you can take a break from whatever you're working on, just turn on the Zoom link and you're engaging. We're learning all the stuff that we're updating members about. You can listen in on our speakers, the speaker that we had for that general body meeting, that kind of stuff. And that has become a really cool way that I think has helped. Zoom is definitely the one we use because that's what I know everyone at NC State has to use. So that is why we do it. Next, service events. That has changed a lot. Usually we have several good in-person events. We have Service Raleigh, which is a large day of basically service here in Raleigh. You get assigned to a organization in the area. You go as a team, you sign up as teams, you go out, you basically work for the whole day working on helping the community. We've also done Boys and Girls Club. We've done Feed the Pack, which is our pack pantry here on campus, but we actually went in, donated the food ourselves. Now that we've switched, we've tried to find ways to prevent in-person meetings. And our main idea for this semester was virtual tutoring hours. A lot of people need tutoring. We're an organization based on service, accelerating in our fields and being good, just helping other engineers. So our main target audience was kind of freshman engineers. It would have provided both kind of a introduction to Tau while also providing good service to the community, and that's going there. And then next was donating to Feed the Pack, our low food bank. Now, a lot of people have also gone home because they don't feel comfortable being on campus. So we're definitely also trying to provide options that don't just apply to NC State in our community, but also local communities, and trying to point out that we're asking you to do a service to your community, wherever that may be right now, because there's no point in trying to force you to come back to Raleigh to do a service event. Do what's best for your situation while also basically proving to us that you hold up the values of Tau Pi. And I think that's very helped. And our last one is kind of like a cool idea that we thought would be cool. Is fleshing out new service event ideas through proposals. So the idea is we're going to try and have a meetup with any initiates that are trying to have a service event, and kind of like a brainstorm session of all these possible service events we can have, whether it be in the spring over virtually, or in the future when we are no longer restricted by social distancing guidelines, and try and do that. And basically, once that's done, we'll have the members kind of come up with a more fleshed out plan for these ideas, and that will kind of count for their service event. I think it helps them also do a service event if they don't feel comfortable doing any of the other options for us. Social events, they're fun. I think there's probably the easiest thing to transition online. Trivia nights, speed networking, movie nights. I think everyone for the past 5 months, people have been coming up with fun ideas to hang out online. And I think it's definitely just finding what works best for your chapter. And that's that. I mean, speed networking is kind of our fun idea because of signature sheets. We're trying to find good ways to get people to talk to each other. So that is kind of our way of, instead of, after a general body meeting, we usually have time after where people can just talk, get to know each other, but we don't really have that opportunity in like a virtual meeting. So the idea of speed networking is kind of that. We're helping that facilitate that networking idea, obviously, and try and have fun with that. Movie nights, trivia night. Our trivia night went really well. We did trivia over Zoom, and it went, I think almost all of our members that joined us had a lot of fun. So they're lots of fun holding social events online. As much as the world is crazy, they're fun. Now, initiation ideas. This was the one at the end of the spring. We were trying to come up with fun ways to make sure that we still could do bench shinings. And I think a lot of other chapters probably had similar ideas, but I just want to highlight three of the more creative ones. And so we asked our members who are joining, come up with fun ways of making a bent in fun, creative ways around your house or with whatever resource you can. Be as creative as you want, kind of just show that's kind of, because you can't have a virtual bent, like we don't have any bents for you to shine. This is our way of asking you to do so. And I think a lot of them came up with this. I think the SolidWorks rendering is super cool. The snow, this is one of our members who was back home in Minnesota, and someone went for a run and made the shape of a bent. It's super cool, and I think it's a super cool idea. Going in the future, if it comes around and we aren't able to give bents out this semester, I think that this will likely be another round of people asking members to come up with creative ways of making bents. Now, I think I want to talk about kind of what I see as like an advantage, kind of like a advantage that's come out of being moved online. And that's kind of what we figured out, at least, is our mission to increase membership is that we can have more interest meetings. Since we don't have to all be there, we don't have extra move-in, like transportation needs, we don't have to book rooms, we just have to make a set of a time and have people there to represent. We were able to have several interest meetings, and I think that was definitely a helpful resource because we had almost at least 10 people at least at every single interest meeting. So it helped in terms of making sure that wasn't a barrier for people's reasons not to join. And also I think being online makes it super easy for advisors and speakers to come. Before you usually want like in-person speakers. If you have an in-person event, it's kind of weird talking to a screen, but if we're all already online, you can basically reach out to anyone you want. Then it's much easier to fit a Zoom call in than a drive over to campus at 7 o'clock at night to go talk to our members, because you can do it from the comfort of your home. And I think these are two very large advantages, because I think it's just it broadens our horizon that really wasn't thought about before this. I mean, obviously there are probably people who do have speakers that come in, but I think it's much more convenient, at least for our chapter specifically, in bringing in advisors and speakers and basically trying to expand our horizons in terms of general body meetings, speaker events. And this will definitely be very helpful for whenever we host like speaker events in like speaker series, or we have panels or stuff. It's much easier to bring in anyone, no matter where they are. It's much easier to plan something. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for talking and listening to what I had to say. This is our chapter email, and follow us on Instagram. Thank you.